All right, it's time to start building our homepage, start building our site. And the way I like to do it, and everyone kind of has their own particular ways that they like to do things, and if you already have your own, don't feel the need to follow along directly with me, kind of just take whatever path you're comfortable with. However, I like to build my pages by first starting out with an image. Sometimes I have a Photoshop document. In this case, I just have a normal PNG image that I have open on my desktop, and I like to just work from left to right. I keep the items on the right of the finished image just as a guide to make sure that I'm using good semantics and I'm using proper markup in my web page all the way through. Before we get to coding though, let's talk about structure. At the top of our site, we have a fixed navbar. This navbar, we anticipate, is going to continue to scroll down the page with us as we move down. We'll always have our navigation with us, and that's just good UI. Next, we have our front page slideshow. This isn't necessarily going to be consistent across every single page that we do, but for our home page, it's a good start. We'll keep that slideshow, and we'll use the built-in Bootstrap slider for that. Next, we have a general call to action, 3 thumbnails that can be features or other important things about a business or a person that would be applicable to put on the home page that really need to stand out. Next, we have our footer. It's pretty trendy right now to divide footers into 2 areas. You have one area for content, and then the next for what I like to call kind of credits. Think of those as something in the end of the movie. You know, you get credits at the end of the movie, and in the same way, you get just the important things and who's responsible and who actually owns this website at the end of our site. So that works. Also, you should take note that we will be using social network integration through links. So in this case, we will be using the icon fonts or font awesome icon fonts to integrate dynamic fonts and font sizes to be able to grow or shrink according to the device that we're using responsive design. So let's start filling out our site with content. Now, Bootstrap is famous for its ability to be a fast prototyping tool. And one of the most effective ways to take advantage of that is to actually head over to the Bootstrap documentation. In order to get there, head over to getbootstrap.com/components. Here you can find the CSS, components, and JavaScript. Since we need to integrate the navigation, we'll be using the components section. It's pretty easy to get around. First, we'll head over to navbar. As you can see, this navbar looks a whole lot like the navbar that we need to integrate within our page. In fact, it's the same navigation bar that's being used at the top of their own site. So, we know that our navbar is going to be easy to copy and paste in by just copying this block of text, and let's go ahead and paste that right in. Let's see what that gives us on our live page. So we'll refresh. Looks like we have our brand, a few links, even a search form, and some more links in a drop-down menu. So everything is pulling and acting correctly. We also note that we have full responsiveness with our navigation. So this is all very good news. However, our navigation isn't black or it isn't dark, and also it still has these rounded edges. That's because we're not using the fixed navigation bar. We can do that now. By going further down into the Bootstrap documentation, simply go down to the fixed to top and add navbar fixed to top, that class, to the nav class. So we'll head on in here, find our nav with our class, the one that's wrapping our entire navbar, and simply paste in navbar fixed top. Paste that in. Go back, refresh, and alright, there we go. Our navbar no longer has the rounded edges, but we do have still this light color, and we'll fix some of that in styling in just a little bit. Alright, let's continue marking up our home page. So after our navbar, we have our slider. But as you can see, our slider actually fits within what our page is contained. So we have Bootstrap provides us a class of container. So we just have to mark up div class equal to container. Now I always like to comment out my divs. There we are. Alright, so within this container, I'm also going to add a class of page content. So page content. Alright, so we have our nav bar complete, and we've opened up the container for the rest of our site, for our page content. In the next video, we'll be adding our slider, our call to action, as well as our thumbnail feature. So when you're ready to continue on, head over to the next video, and we'll pick up where we left off.